What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, October 26th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1500 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation with Israel and Iran. So, last night, Israel finally launched their long awaited strike on Iran, and it appears that they did not hit any nuclear sites, oil sites, or government targets. But we're actually hearing today that Iran is planning some kind of a response. The Iranian government said late last night that it was untrue that if Israel launched a limited strike that Iran would not respond. They said that that was not true and that they will respond. And U.S. officials are now stating that an Iranian response appears to be imminent. And according to various sources in Israel, Iran is getting ready to respond. And Iran's news agency is reporting that Iran has already named the response to the Israeli strikes Operation True Promise 3. Ballistic missiles are confirmed to be on the move inside Iran, and they were observed through satellite images. Israeli sources said quietly earlier today that they blinded all the radars in Syria and Iraq, and now they cannot see us coming, and we are free to take out Iran's nuclear program. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. This could just continue to escalate. It appears that the Biden administration talked Israel out of striking the nuclear sites and the oil sites and the regime, okay? And basically they just hit some missile and drone facilities and some IRGC sites. It was a pretty intense strike. I'll have some more technical details on the strike very soon, but get prepared, guys, because once Iran responds back to this, which they said that they will, and now we're hearing that Iranian ballistic missiles are confirmed to be on the move in Iran, then Israel is definitely going to hit the nuclear sites, the oil sites, and the government. And the IDF blew up a massive stockpile of Hezbollah weapons earlier this morning, right after the strikes in Iran concluded. And the explosion was so powerful that it registered as a 3.3 magnitude earthquake, which is absolutely insane. And Iran's foreign ministry said in a statement that Israel's strikes are a violation of international law and stressed that the country reserves the right to exercise self-defense against external aggression. Iran has the right and the duty to defend itself against foreign acts of aggression, the foreign ministry said in a statement citing Article 51 of the UN Charter. Okay, so the Iranian foreign ministry saying themselves that they have a right and a duty to respond. Okay, Iran's strength will humiliate and weaken the enemies of our homeland. That's what Iran's Vice President Mohammad Reza tweeted Saturday following the Israeli attacks on Iran's military sites. And Israel sent a private message to Iran on Friday ahead of these strikes, warning the Iranians not to respond. And the British Prime Minister said that Iran must not respond. And Russia voiced concern about an explosive escalation in hostilities between Israel and Iran on Saturday after Israel struck military targets in Iran. We urge all parties involved to exercise restraint, stop the violence, and prevent events from developing into a catastrophic scenario, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said, warning of an explosive escalation. And IDF officials said in a briefing with reporters that dozens of fighter jets participated in the attack on Iran and all returned to their bases safely. The officials said dozens of targets were attacked in several waves and in several areas in Iran. The operation was codenamed Days of Repentance. The targets that were attacked expanded the IDF's freedom of operation over Iran's skies and damaged Iran's military infrastructure, including the air defense systems and ballistic missile capabilities, an IDF official said. Over 100 planes were involved in the attack on Iran on Saturday, including the F-35s. And a substantial part of Israel's attack on Iran originated from jets outside of Iranian airspace, two Israeli officials told ABC News. So it appears that Israel used F-35s, F-15s, and F-16s to launch these long-range ballistic missiles or long-range cruise missiles from outside of Iran's airspace. It doesn't look like they actually penetrated Iran's airspace. And a senior Biden administration official said that if Iran chooses to respond, Washington is again prepared to repel any attack. A response by Iran would be wider than previous responses, so more serious. And Israel struck multiple military targets in Iran outside populated areas. The U.S. knew what the targets were ahead of time. And apparently Biden urged Netanyahu to respond in a proportional way with low risk of civilian harm. And Iran's Tasnim News reported that a preliminary assessment indicated that the Israeli strike was weak. And the Israeli army is monitoring the possibility of a response from Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and Lebanon, and is preparing for all possibilities. And an Iraqi security source said that Israeli planes used Jordanian and Iraqi airspace and attacked military radars in Suwaida, Syria, to blind advanced surveillance systems and then fire long-range missiles at Iran. And an Iranian source said Israel's strikes were carried out from outside Iran's borders, causing limited damage. And an Iranian source said that Israel's strikes were carried out from outside of Iran's borders, causing limited damage. No IRGC military sites in Tehran were targeted, and the Israeli army's claims of hitting 20 positions in Iran is unrealistic, with the actual number of targets being much lower. So Iran is downplaying how serious the attack was. And Israel bombed vital production sites of surface-to-surface missiles based on very accurate intel supplied by the Army's intel branch, Israeli sources say. According to current estimates, the IDF aimed to completely destroy Iran's ability to produce these missiles. And Sky News Arabia is claiming that Russia provided Iran with intelligence information about the military operations of Israel and the U.S. hours before the start of the Israeli attack. So Russia helping Iran to prepare for this strike, providing various types of satellite imagery and intelligence to Iran of the Israeli and U.S. forces and activity. And the IDF spokesman said that Israel now has greater operational freedom in Iran. And Saudi Arabia has condemned the military strikes on Iran and calls for restraint and reduction of tensions. The Turkish Foreign Ministry condemned the Israeli strikes. Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also condemned the Israeli airstrikes. The UAE and Iraq and Pakistan also condemned the Israeli strikes. And the New York Times reported that the Israeli airstrikes targeted the S-300 air defense system at the Imam Khomeini Airport in Tehran and 3 Revolutionary Guard missile bases in Tehran, according to 2 Iranian officials. Also, the Parchin military base was targeted. The death toll from Israel's airstrikes are now up to 4. Okay, so 4 Iranian soldiers have been killed. And overnight, the Israeli Air Force conducted several strikes on the southern suburbs of Beirut, targeting weapons manufacturing sites and command centers operated by Hezbollah's intelligence directorate, as well as Hezbollah observation centers. And the armed forces of Iran issued a statement about the strikes. It's pretty long. Let me just read it to you, though. We inform the honorable people of Islamic Iran that in a blatant and internationally illegal aggression early this morning, Saturday, October 27th, Zionist aircraft utilizing space made available by the American terrorist military in Iraq launched several long-range air-launched missiles equipped with warheads about one-fifth the size of Iranian ballistic missile warheads from about 100 kilometers from Iran's borders. These missiles targeted certain border radar installations in the provinces of Elam, Khuzestan, and near Tehran. Thanks to the prompt action of the country's air defenses, only limited and minimal damage was inflicted, affecting a few radar systems, some of which were immediately restored and others are undergoing repairs. During this unlawful and illegal act, our air defenses successfully intercepted and neutralized a significant number of the missiles and prevented enemy aircraft from entering the country's airspace. Iran, while reserving its legal and legitimate right to respond at an appropriate time, emphasizes the need for a sustained ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon to prevent further killing of defenseless and oppressed people. We warn the criminal U.S. regime, which plays a central role in fully supporting the Zionist regime's criminal actions that destabilize regional security to prevent the spread of conflict and insecurity in the region. It must restrain this illegal and illegitimate regime to avoid further entangling itself and its allies in the quagmire created by the occupying forces. We urge the noble people of Iran, media experts, and analysts not to pay attention to unverified rumors and unreliable accounts. Please follow accurate news through official sources and national media. So that is what the Iranian military said, okay, basically downplaying it. Now, what's interesting is looks like another bunch of aerial refuelers went to the Middle East last night and today. So here we have 3 aerial refuelers that went down to Saudi Arabia earlier this morning, and then we also had 4 aerial refuelers go from Ramstein to Qatar. Okay, so about 7 aerial refuelers going down to the Middle East today. That's a huge sign that something more is coming, whether it's more Israeli strikes, maybe Iran is going to respond. And I want to just play this statement for you from the IDF spokesman. This was last night.
I can now confirm that we have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attack against Israel. We conducted targeted and precise strikes on military targets in Iran, thwarting immediate threats to the state of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces has fulfilled its mission. If the regime in Iran were to make the mistake of beginning a new round of escalation, we will be obligated to respond. Our message is clear. All those who threaten the state of Israel and seek to drag the region into wider escalation will pay a heavy price. We demonstrated today that we have both the capability and the resolve to act decisively, and we are prepared on offense and defense to defend the state of Israel and the people of Israel.
So there's an official statement, and then here we have some video footage that the IDF released showing the fighter pilots gearing up and taking off for their mission in Iran. And want to just share some footage in case you weren't in the live stream last night, some footage from Iran of this strike. So here's some footage for you. You can hear a bunch of air defense missile interceptors active there. Here's another clip for you. Here's another one. And here's some more.
Django.
And Ukraine has tested a new ballistic missile called the Hrim 2. Apparently, the warhead of the missile is 500 kilograms, which is over 1,000 pounds, and has a maximum range of 700 kilometers, which puts all of Moscow and even the city of Pskov in Russia within range. Okay, so this basically looks like a Russian Iskander missile. It's basically like a copy of the Russian Iskander missile. And Ukraine has now officially tested this missile. So this is very, very concerning, guys. Okay, this could mean that Ukraine is going to start striking Russian territory with their own ballistic missiles. And the New York Times is reporting that 5,000 North Korean troops will be transferred to Russia's Kursk region by Monday. They will reportedly be transported by Ilyushin 76 transport planes from Vladivostok to a military airfield in western Russia, from where they will fly to the combat zone. Okay, so it looks like Russia's using these North Korean troops to fight in Kursk. Kursk is the part of Russia that Ukraine has occupied, and Russia has been unable to eject the Ukrainian forces there. And German defense corporation Rheinmetall is building 4 arms production plants in Ukraine, the CEO said. According to him, the first plant is already in operation and will produce the first batch of Lynx infantry fighting vehicles by the end of the year. Powder and ammunition plants are also under construction, and the last plant currently planned is for the production of air defense systems. Wow. So 4 arms production plants being built by the German defense contractor Rheinmetall in Ukraine. One of them is going to be responsible for producing air defenses. And the Lithuanian foreign minister said that the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres must admit that his trip to the BRICS summit was a mistake. He must take responsibility both for his decision to skip the Ukrainian peace summit in Switzerland and now for meeting with the war criminal Vladimir Putin. The minister added that the UN Secretary General is no longer perceived as an honest mediator. And Georgia is currently holding parliamentary elections. 18 parties are competing for seats in the parliament. And the Georgian elections have been described as crucial, as Georgians will decide whether to join the EU or Russia. Fighting apparently has already broke out during these elections, and we're hearing that there were some people with batons attacking other people outside of voting stations. So a lot of accusations of voter fraud as well. So a very strange situation over there. Georgia is actually the country where Joseph Stalin was born in. Okay, Stalin actually came from Georgia. It's a very, very important country. It's small but very critical, especially for Russia. It makes up their Caucasus mountain border, and the Caucasus Mountains have always been critical for Russia's security because they provide a natural barrier from the Middle East. So basically, the parliament could either go for pro-Russia or pro-EU, and so it's a very tense situation there. And the U.S. is going to supply Taiwan with air defense systems tested in Ukraine. The U.S. has approved a potential $2 billion arms package for Taiwan. The package includes the delivery of 3 NASAMS air defense systems and also advanced AMRAAM systems. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I'm going to continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East. And if anything happens, I will go live and update you guys live just like I did last night. But get prepared. It does look like Iran is preparing for a response and that it could be imminent. So I will be back soon. And until then, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day, all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video.